to thank everyone for being here today. We're placing an Engine 45 into service, and this isn't something that happens every day. It's a huge step in the right direction for public safety, our community, the City of West Sacramento, so thank you very much. Before we get started, I turn the mic over. There are some people I'd like to thank, and I'd like to thank, oh, that's right. I'm sorry, I didn't see him back there. We have our County Board Supervisor, Oscar Villegas is here today. Oscar, thank you for joining us. None of this would be possible without support from our mayor and council members. It takes the council, the mayor, the city manager, all pulling the rope in the same direction to make something like this happen. And so I really can't thank all of you enough for your support of public safety and the fire service here in the City of West Sacramento. So thank you, everyone. I do appreciate it. My command staff, my fire administration, and the West Sacramento Firefighters Association, you're a very dedicated, hardworking, professional group. You make my job as easy as the fire chief's job can be. You're passionate about what you do, and I can't thank all of you enough. So thank you for the support. And finally, I'd like to thank the citizens of West Sacramento for their continued support of the fire department and making public safety a priority in this community. Obviously, by passing Measure O, they trust in us to put their tax dollars to work. And every call we go on, whether we're in their house, on the side of the road, or at a Little League parade, we feel the connection. And so thank you to the citizens of West Sacramento. We do appreciate it. And with that, I would like to turn the mic over to Mayor Guerrero.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everybody. What an extraordinary day that we have succeeded in passing Measure O. I know that it's been a long road to get to where we're at here, where we have needed to restore Engine 45 here in this station so that we can make sure that we have sufficient coverage. But not only that, we have seen the city grow. We have seen demand for not only our first responders, but for all sorts of needs, public works, parks, addressing homelessness. And like all cities, we know that the revenue we have is insufficient to meet those demands. So united we were this time to stand behind Measure O and to put it on the ballot. And it was an incredible job that we have seen all of you step up and make sure that Measure O was passed. We've seen in other cities that did not happen, but we have a unique city, and we know that it took a lot of work because of the opposition. And as a result of that, we need to demonstrate these taxpayer dollars are going and invested back in our city, back to where we said in the advisory measure that it would be placed. And I am committed to that. I'm committed to fiscal transparency. So I look forward to partnering with each and every one of you to making sure that we strengthen not only our first responders' work and the resources they need and preserving them here, because we will have demand in the A's coming here to West Sacramento. We will have a demand not only in our public infrastructure because of the growth that is happening all throughout the city. The pressure is on us, all of us as council members, to make sure that we meet that demand. So I stand here united with my council members, and that's why I changed up the agenda to make sure they all had a chance to share their thoughts and their words on how we're going to work collaboratively in the next few years ahead of us. So we have Councilmember Sulpicio Hall will be up here next.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning, everyone. It is so exciting to be out here today. When we first began conversations about Measure O, we weren't just talking about policy or plans. We were talking about our future, about the kind of city we wanted to be, and more importantly, the kind of city our community deserves. We spoke about priorities, enhancing public safety, reducing potholes, improving roads, and ensuring our parks or trails are clean and safe. We envisioned a city where everyone feels proud to call it home, where we lead with compassion in addressing challenges like homelessness, and where progress is measured by the opportunities that we create for all. But these conversations weren't just about fixing what's broken. They were about dreaming of something better, about seeing a future where every corner of our city reflects the promise of what we can achieve together. With Measure O passing, this is no longer a conversation about wanting, it's about becoming. Now we turn our vision into action. This is the immediate plan for Measure O, part of the roadmap and how we become a city we aspire to be. Many of you know here, being a firefighter is one of the toughest jobs out there. Not all just mentally, but physically. It takes resilience, dedication, courage. That's why ensuring our fire department is adequately staffed isn't just important, it's essential. Thanks to Measure O, we'll be adding 9 new firefighter positions to better serve our community. But staffing is just one part of the equation. We also need to ensure our firefighters have the right tools for the job. That brings us to today's celebration, the return of beautiful Engine 45 into service. For the past 12 years, we've relied on our ladder truck company to respond to medical calls, which means using highly specialized equipment for situations it wasn't designed for. Now, with Engine 45 back in action, the right equipment will be headed to the right calls, allowing us to provide a level of fire protection that truly matches what the community deserves. And while we're celebrating the advancements of our fire department, we can't forget another critical role in our city, being a police officer. It's a challenging job, especially here in West Sacramento. Measure O will help us meet those challenges by growing our police force and expanding police patrols by 20%. This means improved response times, enhanced community safety, and a stronger, healthier team of officers. We're also doubling down on our recruitment efforts to make our city a destination police department, a place where the best and brightest want to serve. By doing this, we're not just investing in public safety, we're investing in the well-being of the people who protect us every single day. Measure O will help us become a city with smoother roads and stronger infrastructure. Some of our busiest roadways will see immediate improvements thanks to Measure O. Imagine smoother drives on Sacramento Avenue, Jefferson Boulevard, Southport Parkway, and the dangerous intersection of Harbor and Industrial Boulevards. No more swerving to avoid potholes, just safer, smoother commutes for everyone. In the big projects, Measure O will help us do a better job of keeping up with regular road maintenance and repairs as well. We're creating a dedicated road maintenance team to address everything from potholes to sidewalks to ongoing upkeep. Whether you're driving, walking, pushing a stroller, biking, the team will ensure you can get to where you need to go safely and smoothly. Measure O will also allow us to expand and maintain our parks, trails, and public spaces, making them safer and more accessible for everyone. Not long ago, I spoke with a grandmother who loves taking her children to Linden Park, but she told me the weeds along the walkway have grown so wild it's nearly impossible to push the stroller through. When we looked into the maintenance issue, we discovered another challenge. These parks have seen an increase in vandalism, everything from bathroom doors being ripped off hinges to graffiti and damaged equipment. When our parks team has to prioritize fixing these urgent problems, routine maintenance like clearing pathways and pulling weeds falls behind. Measure O is going to change that. With Measure O, we'll have the resources to tackle immediate issues like vandalism and graffiti quickly, while also ensuring we have the staff needed to keep our parks, trails, and public spaces clean and safe. Grass will be mowed, weeds cleared, trash picked up, and pathways open and accessible for everyone to enjoy. Homelessness is one of the top concerns for our community and local businesses, and addressing it remains a priority for us. Measure O will provide additional resources to our homeless response efforts. With these funds, we'll continue to implement compassionate, effective solutions while maintaining the safety and cleanliness of our public spaces. So that's the immediate plan. In the weeks ahead, I look forward to working with my council colleagues and city staff to formalize these programs and many more to make sure West Sacramento continues to grow to the city we believe it can be. And let me be clear, this is just the beginning. You'll be hearing more about Measure O in the months and years to come. All funds generated by Measure O will be held in a separate account, tracked through independent financial audits and detailed in annual reports to ensure transparency and accountability. You'll see public signage, highlighted funded projects, and regular updates to keep our community informed on how these funds are being put to work. To the voters of West Sacramento, thank you. Thank you for trusting us with Measure O. Your vote was a vote in confidence in our shared vision for this city, and we will honor that trust every step of the way. Lastly, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the incredible collaboration with the West Sacramento Firefighters Association and the Sacramento Area Firefighters Local 522 in making Measure O a success. It's especially exciting that the fire department will be the first to benefit from this funding. We'll hear more from Chief Binns on that, but for now, I'd like to introduce my council colleagues to share a few words as well.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Norma Alcala, and I represent District 1. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but District 1 overwhelmingly supported Measure O. As I was campaigning this year, I was knocking on doors. Public safety was a critical issue in everyone's minds. And I explained to them that Measure O would ensure that we have our police and our fire personnel always there for us in West Sacramento. We knew that this measure was very important for public safety. Potholes were another big issue in our neighborhood. And I explained to them these were many things that Measure O would take care of, along with providing for our parks and many other amenities to make West Sacramento the place we wanted to be. I have to tell you, there were some concerns. People wanted to know about fiscal accountability. And I assured them that our mayor would have an oversight commission that would provide data to make certain that we have that fiscal accountability. And on a personal note, I just want to say that I want to thank our fire department. 2 years ago, my husband almost died of sepsis 3 times. 3 times he almost died of sepsis. And our fire personnel were there. The doctors told us if we hadn't gotten to the hospital when we did, he would have died. So on a personal note, I want to say thank you to all of you who are out there and answering that call. To everyone. Thank you. I was going to say, and to everyone. I'm sorry that was an important call. I wanted to make sure you heard it. So thank you again for helping pass Measure O. And we are always behind you. Thank you.
All right. So I have lots of thoughts on this, and wasn't quite sure I was gonna get a chance to speak. So appreciate this, Aaron, for giving us all an opportunity to say something. And when I was driving here, thinking what came up for me, it truly was community above self. And I say that because I had never, ever been behind the scenes on a Measure campaign before. I'd gotten a chance to run many a campaign, actually, for personal and also support colleagues, but never a Measure, and didn't know what that was going to entail. You heard me talk a little bit last night, for those of you who were here, about in February when we stepped up in our strategic planning and all voted unanimously to move this forward. But someone had to raise their hand and say, outside of City Council, I'm going to take on that campaign as well. And that was Councilmember Sapezio Hole. And it was tireless nights, mornings of working with our firefighters, meeting weekly in order to make that happen. And I thought about my own, how we had worked on this, not just those meetings, but also what it meant to be getting off work, starting 7 a.m, rushing to pick up my daughter, and then actually how many times did we have a community meeting in which she was eating cookies for dinner because, again, community above all. And then I thought about the sacrifice that particularly our firefighters had made, in which we were just about launching this campaign, and we had been meeting weekly, and we had our literature, and we were all ready to go. And then as a whole West Sac family, we suffered a loss, but you all suffered a loss. And then we had to turn to you and ask you, was this something you still wanted to do? And I remember talking to Brendan and saying, like, this is a lot. This is a lot to ask of our team to do this. And almost every single one of you said, yes, this is something that we need. And again, the community needs it. We know we need it. And all of you came out and walked. You came out and walked after your shifts, early in the morning. And so when I think about the sacrifice so many of us have made, I want to say thank you so much. We heard that District 1 overwhelmingly supported this. And part of that was all of the campaigning that happened behind the scenes. And so I also want to say a big thank you to the candidates, Emiliano, for walking and dropping and talking to neighbors as well in District 1. I want to say thank you to Jackie Wong for walking and talking in her district, because here's the thing, This was not politically popular. It is never popular to say, hey, I want to add a tax. And so to be running for office and still walking and campaigning for a sales tax measure, that is a sacrifice, but you're doing that because you know that the community needs it, whether you benefit individually or not. And that really was what all of you did. It was what Councilmember Orozco did as well. Despite sometimes not even being able to walk, holding that extra load to make sure she was not only campaigning for this, but campaigning for herself as well to make that happen and take it over the finish line. You saw my children in commercials. You saw Councilmember Orozco's children in commercials. You saw my face in commercials, and we saw many of you in those as well. And so both to the voters and really to all of you, thank you. Thank you for putting community over yourselves and for continuing to put community over yourselves. Thank you so much.
Wow. Okay, we should really end there, honestly. I don't want to take up too much of this time. I just want to say the view from where I am right now is incredible. I'm looking at some of the hardest working people that this city has ever known. My heroes. As a wife of a recent SAC PD retiree and someone who's dedicated his life to public safety, I want to thank those of you who don on the uniform every single day. That duty belt, the firefighter's outfit that I think is so amazing, all that weight down on your shoulders, literally every single fight for our community. You guys are the heroes. And so while we're standing up here giving you words, honestly, you guys should be the ones standing behind this microphone taking all of the thanks and all the recognition. What Dante said is absolutely true. No one wants to go and knock on the next door and say, hey, I want to charge you a little bit more money to live here in a better place. But together we did that. I always say to folks, never underestimate the power of one committed person to change the world. And you know what? We did it. We did it under unusually harsh circumstances. The campaign against Measure O was immense. And it was easier to just stand by and do nothing than to actually go out there and carry the literature and say, neighbor, I need you to trust me. Trust my words. We have needs out there that we want to solve. And we need your trust and walking with us and doing that. We had firefighters going out there knocking on doors and telling folks this is what we need. I talked to Miguel and Greg and Brendan throughout this. And what Council Member Early said about you suffering the greatest loss our department has known in recent history, that's real. And yet you found it. You found it. You said, you know what? We have a higher calling. I've been in this council. I'm the longest serving city council member in the history of this city. I have seen and worked on Measure E. I have actually championed Measure N and now have the opportunity with my favorite one, Measure O. You know why it's my favorite? Because my last name's Orozco, and O and Orozco, that is ooh. But on the real, the reason it's so important to me is because of the collaborative effort to see the love in the heart of the people that are sacrificing time away from their children, time away from their partners, their husbands, wives, and loved ones because they believe in something larger than themselves. This is truly a victory for us all. And even the ones who hand wrote the signs and said no, they get to benefit from your hard work and commitment. Thank you. I am a mother raising 4 children in this beautiful community along with you. You protect me. My dog loves the siren. Y'all on 15th Street know my dog because he howls like it's the end of the day for him. But anyway, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you as a mother, as a committed community servant, and as a woman who really appreciates our public safety. You did it. Thank you. Defense.
Oh, this is going to be a hard act to follow. I think we need to give them all a little applause here for all their effort. Those are some kind words. I appreciate all the support from every one of you. It is It is nice to see. Um, now I'd like to take a moment to discuss why this engine is needed and how it will improve service, not only in this neighborhood, but the city as a whole. Over the last 15 years, the fire department has seen a dramatic increase in calls for service. As you can see here this morning, they're all having to leave for calls for service. We've seen an increase of 70% for calls overall over the last 15 years and 130% increase in fires over those same 15 years. So it's gotten a lot busier here. This engine, for sure, will decrease response times, decrease the amount of time it takes to get water on a fire, increase the amount of firefighters that we can get on scene in a timely fashion. It'll improve our ability to train together, and most importantly, it'll decrease our need for neighboring agencies to come into West Sac to assist us. It's a win-win-win for the entire community and the entire city. I also want to talk a little bit about how this engine is being funded. It's coming from two sources. For the last several years, we've been working with the city manager, trying to find a way to bring this engine back. We applied for a SAFER grant, but the odds of getting that, and I forget the exact percentage, is approximately 3%, maybe a little less. It's not great odds. Of course, Measure O came into play, but we weren't sure that was going to pass. We thought of a lot of different scenarios, but the one scenario I never thought of was that we would get the SAFER grant and Measure O would pass. And so we're very fortunate that has happened. The SAFER grant will fund this engine for the first 3 years. It pays for the salaries for 9 firefighters, but all the wraparound costs that are associated with keeping an engine going down the road, the engine, the maintenance, facility maintenance, that's all being funded by Measure O. And then in 3 years, January of 2028, when Measure O expires, it will be, when the SAFER grant expires, it'll be Measure O that carries this forward. So I can't thank all of you enough for your support and help with the SAFER grant, with Measure O, the firefighters, the citizens of this community. Thank you very much. And we are going to take a picture here with this engine here in just a second, but the fire department has a tradition, there's a lot of traditions actually, and one of them is a push-in ceremony. When you put a apparatus into service, we like to get everyone here that wants to get in front of the engine, and after we take our picture, we'll push it into the station. And that dates back over 100 years when horse-drawn apparatus would get back to the station. The horses couldn't back into the barn, so they would disconnect the horses and they would push the apparatus into the station after every call. And so we're going to take a little bit of the old and a lot of the new. And when this is, we're done taking our picture, we're going to do a push-in ceremony. We're going to push this engine into the barn and officially place it into service. So with that, how about we all gather up in front of this engine and we'll take a picture. Thank you everyone for coming.
Everybody have to come here and respond to this part of the consultation firefighters. Make it hard that the employees call out and the work out there and they will see the on the test and I come to. Go to the firehouse.